The defining text for Indonesia's technological trajectory is found in Chapter 6, the conclusion of the Digital Government Master Plan 2025 to 2045. The document explicitly rejects the standard practice of digitizing existing bureaucratic paperwork. It mandates a structural rewiring of how the state operates, delivers services, and interacts with its citizens. This rewiring is the required mechanism to achieve the developmental milestones of Golden Indonesia 2045, the state's vision for a sovereign, advanced nation. This photograph shows the dense, unregimented reality of a traditional Indonesian floating market. It represents a highly complex, decentralized microeconomy operating outside standard corporate structures. This diagram represents a vector abstraction of that decentralized economy. The true test of digital governance is overlaying a unified national framework onto these hyper-local economic networks without destroying their natural functionality. The document mandates this integration to accelerate Indonesia's entry into global digital trade. The master plan operates as a massive economic integration protocol. Architecting a national strategy on a 20-year timeline introduces a specific problem: drafting a policy that avoids technical obsolescence within 5 years. Global technology evolves through rapid, volatile cycles, while traditional state legislation moves at a slow, rigid pace. This diagram contrasts a rigid organizational chart with a dynamic, open-ended matrix framework. Historically, standard e-government initiatives rely on rigid blueprints, locking states into dead-end, siloed proprietary systems. To counter this, the master plan requires building flexibility directly into the core architecture of the state. The digital government must be architected as an adaptable operating system, capable of surviving decades of disruption, rather than a finished software product. The text outlines specific operational mechanisms, prioritizing bureaucratic efficiency. This efficiency serves a primary economic objective: enforcing supply chain transparency. Physical supply chain bottlenecks transform into a streamlined digital ledger, connecting local producers directly to national ports. Digital governance acts as a router, eliminating friction points. These transparent data flows allow decentralized microeconomies to interface directly with macro-level economic ecosystems. This unbroken chain of transparency provides the state with high-fidelity, real-time economic data to inform immediate policy adjustments. Currently, the state relies on a fragmented reality of siloed regional governments and uncoordinated ministries. The text explicitly requires cross-sector collaboration, connecting local governments, academia, non-governmental organizations, and the private sector to make this ecosystem function. Supply chain transparency is the structural prerequisite for safely connecting traditional domestic markets to the high-speed global digital economy. At the macro-national level, this local execution integrates directly with the long-term National Development Plan for 2025 to 2045, known by the acronym RPJPN. The master plan states clearly that it will fail if executed in isolation. 4 foundational pillars are required by the RPJPN. The first external pillar is the digital economy. The second requires expanding physical digital infrastructure. The third focuses on empowering digital communities. Digital government serves as the central framework, allowing the other 3 to interoperate securely. A failure in interoperability among these pillars guarantees a total failure of the 2045 national vision. If the state builds digital infrastructure without digital government integration, communities remain unable to leverage that infrastructure for the digital economy. The master plan mitigates this systemic risk by enforcing strict cross-sector standardization. True digitalization is defined entirely by interoperability. An isolated government application carries no value if it cannot natively exchange data with the national economy and infrastructure. Executing this ecosystem across 20 years requires enforcing a massive interconnected network without relying on rigid laws. The text introduces a crucial systemic safeguard: the mandate for extreme sustainability and flexibility. The master plan operates as a living document rather than a static legislative directive. A living document is legally designed to be continuously updated, adjusted, and enriched to absorb unforeseen technological shifts. A rigid, monolithic architectural structure transforms fluidly into a flexible, interwoven network matrix. Legacy bureaucratic operations structurally resist these kinds of iterative updates. The text includes a vital caveat. This flexibility cannot cause a loss of core national direction or foundational principles. The document balances dynamic, decentralized operational updates with strict adherence to the centralized goals of Golden Indonesia 2045. The master plan ensures its own survival against future disruption by legally mandating continuous, structured evolution. These domestic mechanics ultimately serve the highest geopolitical objectives stated in the text, achieving absolute national digital sovereignty. In the master plan, digital sovereignty means absolute, secure control over the nation's internal data flow and core infrastructure. It does not mean isolationism. A seamlessly interoperable adaptive state architecture acts as a defensive shield against crippling external technological dependencies. This diagram models a national matrix establishing a secure perimeter, extending controlled data vectors to the global network. Sovereign data control empowers the state to negotiate globally on its own terms. A unified state participates as an integrated sovereign equal. Digital sovereignty is the threshold separating a nation acting as a mere data extraction zone from an active, protected power in the global digital economy. The document concludes with a final strategic ambition: global emulation. Indonesia faces a highly specific challenge: bridging localized traditional systems with cutting-edge global networks across a vast archipelagic geography. Executing this 20-year master plan solves a structural problem faced by nearly the entire global south. Indonesia intends to become the operational blueprint for other developing nations navigating their own digital transformations. This replicable blueprint relies entirely on the foundational principles of justice, sustainability, and an unwavering orientation toward the welfare of the people. The legacy of the Digital Government Master Plan 2025 to 2045 is architecting a viable, replicable model for sovereign digital development in the 21st century.